Hello, welcome to Mr. B's Ukulele channel. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy watching. This is the tutorial for Mr. Blue Sky by ELO back in 1977. It's a lovely, beautiful song. I hope it brings a smile to your face. Now, I've put it in as a level 6 piece, and mainly because of the different chords that are in here. It's probably not the hardest level 6 piece I've got, but it is quite demanding on the number of different chords that you have to know, and also the length of the piece. The original song is very long, and although I've chopped a few bits out that I didn't like, or certainly I didn't feel suited the ukulele, because obviously it's quite a different arrangement, just playing it on the ukulele to the original band arrangement. So I've cut a few bits out, but I've put some of the other verses back in and sort of on repeat, and so mine's probably as long as the original was, and so it's quite an endurance test on your fingers, especially when it comes to doing some of those tricky chords and your fingers are getting quite tired towards the end, but you still got to get those chords in the right place. So for that reason, we're level 6. Let's have a look why. Okay, let's start with those chords. Now we've got, I'm going to assume everyone at this stage is comfortable with the F, C and G chords in your A minor. Let's have a look at the trickier ones. We've got A, B flat, and then we've got some nasty minor chords. We've got G minor, D minor, E minor 7, and we've also got an E flat in there as well. We're going to look at all of those now, and then we'll look at some of the transitions from one to the other and how to do those. Okay, our A should be simple enough. If you're not familiar with your A, it's that. First finger on the 3rd string up, second finger on the top string on the 2nd fret. If you imagine an F, lift your first finger up a string, and there's your A. There we go, A major chord. So it starts nice and easy. But we've got a B flat. Actually, the first chord of the piece is the B flat. Now that's not too difficult, although it's a bit of a stretch with 3 fingers there. First finger on the first 2 strings on the 1st fret on the bottom 2 strings. Second finger there, 3rd finger on the top string on the 3rd fret, so sort of diagonal there as well. There's your B flat. Should sound like this. Okay, hopefully that's not too tricky. Then we'll have a quick look at the E flat, and then we'll get into the minors. The E flat's a bit of a stretch. You've got to do your first finger on the A string on the bottom. There we go, that's nice and easy. But then your 3rd finger's got to cover the top 3 strings on the 3rd fret. Just to show you again, first finger on the bottom string on the 1st fret there, 3rd finger on the 3rd fret on the top 3 strings. You've got to make sure your 3rd finger really covers all 3 of those strings tightly, otherwise you don't get the right sound of the chords. That's why it's such a challenging chord to get right. And also, it does feature towards the end of the song. So even though you're tired, you've still got to be able to get that stretch in, which is why it's one of the reasons why it's a tricky song. Okay, that's the E flat and the B flat and the A. Let's look at those minor chords. Starts off with an E minor 7. I'll come to that in a minute. Let's look at the G minor. First of all, G minor 1, 2, 3. First finger on the 1st string on the 1st fret. Second, whoops, not there. 2nd finger, 3rd string up on the 2nd fret. 3rd finger, 1st string up on the 3rd fret. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, G minor should sound like this. It's a lovely chord, the G minor. I really like the sound of it. And then we get to the D minor, which is simple enough. First finger down there, 2nd finger top 2 strings, D minor. And the E minor, which I hope we all know, but just in case you don't, 1, 2, 3, diagonal line there. Okay, if you're not sure or not comfortable with any of those chords, do have a good look at those before you carry on with the piece, because you're going to need to be on top of all the chords to play the piece well. Right, let's have a look at the strumming pattern, then we'll look at a few chord transitions that flow between those different chords that we've looked at. Let's do the strumming pattern on an F. It's simple, down, down, up, up, down, up. Sun is shining in the sky, there ain't a cloud inside. There you go, down, down, up, down, up, and we keep that all the way through. Let's have a look at some of the chords then with that strumming pattern. In fact, I'll sing you slowly through parts of the song so you can see how the chords fit together. It starts off on a B flat with that little introduction, then switches to an F and a C. F to C is easy. B flat to F is quite easy as well. B flat, F. All I've done is take my third finger off, lift that second finger up there, and then raise my first finger. So instead of squashing the two strings together, I'm just pressing the second string up. B flat to F. B flat to F. Nice and easy. B flat to the F and the C. F. Shining in the sky, the raindrop, E minor 7. So you've got to go from the F to the E minor 7. You've got to quickly tuck that third finger over and drop the second finger. F, E minor 7. It's quite a quick change. F, E minor 7. You've got to be ready for it. And then we only play 2 beats on that. There ain't a cloud inside, because we're going to go straight into the A. So we go from the E minor 7 straight to the A. E minor to the A, and we just put that first finger back and lift that second finger up. And we're going to do 2 down strums on the E minor 7. Cloud inside, and then we do the full strum on the D minor. But we do the 2 down strums on the E minor 7, and then the rest of that strumming pattern up, up, down, up on the A, and then like I said, the full strum on the D minor. Cloud inside, it stopped raining. Then we're on to the G. Every E minor, body's in A, play. Now E minor to A is quite tricky as well, because you've got to just know where your A is. You've got to jump from the E minor to A, and that's called muscle memory. That's just the more you practice it, your fingers literally remember where they go, and you get used to that. Everybody's in a play, and don't you be flat. No, now from the A to the B flat is quite easy. You just drop that finger back in place. A, B flat. No, it's a beautiful new F day, and C, hey. Second part of that verse works pretty much the same. Then we get into the chorus. Starts on a D minor. Mr. Blue Sky. D minor to F, so lovely and easy. D minor to F, D minor to F. All I'm doing is raising my fingers up, that second finger up. So instead of squashing 2 strings, I just press the top string for the F. Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us B flat why you had to F, hide away for G minor so long. F to G minor is a bit of a fiddle, you got to practice that one. So long, F, where did we go wrong? And you got to be ready on the F to put that E flat in place. You got to drop your first finger and get that third finger square across those top 3 strings for the E flat. We go wrong. Then it carries on the D minor. Hey there, F, Mr. Blue, B flat. We're so pleased to F, be with you, G minor. Look around, see F, what you do. Everybody smiles at you. Just got to be ready for that E flat there, and you've got to drop from the F to the E flat. So to drop it, you just drop the first finger down and then put that third finger square across the top 3 strings. You've got to do it really confidently. Look around, see what you do. Everybody smiles at you. And then we're into the B flat and verse 2. Okay, let's have a look at the layout of the piece next. Okay, the layout of the piece is not too tricky, but you've got to be aware of how it works, because there's a lot of lyrics on the page and I've had to slightly squash them together to fit them onto a single sheet. And so just be aware of where the repeats are and how that works. So the first box on the left, you just read straight down from top to bottom, nice and simple. Just be aware of the extra B flat on the end of the last line of the chorus. So I've got everybody smiles at you, B flat again. And that's just to remind you to space out the chorus and verse 2. So don't go everybody smiles at you, hey you with the pretty face. It's just a bit too quickly into the next part of the song. Just put that extra, that second strum on the B flat in. Everybody smiles at you, and again. Now, hey you with the pretty face, and then we're into the second box, verse 2, and you just space them out slightly with that extra strum of B flats. Like I said, then we're into the second verse, strumming is all the same, and the chords are pretty much the same as before. Verse 2, chorus again.
both parts of it. And then at the bottom I've got in blue there a little pattern, and then it says repeat verse 1 and chorus. Now that pattern, D minor, F, B flat, F, G minor, F, E flat, is the second half of the verse. So what you're doing there is putting in a little instrumental verse. It's a nice little one. And back to the beginning now. Sun is shining in the sky, there ain't a cloud inside, it stopped raining, and so on with that. And then we repeat the first half of the song. So just be aware when you do that little instrumental part, it is pretty much a copy of the second part of the chorus, but I don't go on to the B flat at the end. I stay on the E flat, and that just links slightly nicer into that F that we're going into next. So then we repeat the first half of the song, verse 1 again, the double chorus, and then we go into the ending. Now the ending is just a nice little bit of fun. If you listen to the end of the original song, it's obviously got a lot more going on in it, but it sort of has that sort of da-da-lum-bum as well. So we're going to go with that. Nice simple chord pattern, starts on a D minor, da-da-dum, by B flat, F, da-da-dum, by G minor, da-da-dum, by E flat, da-da-da. That's another reason why it's tricky. E flat's the last chord you will finish on, so although it's a tiring piece and your fingers are going to get more and more aching, you've got to still reach that E flat to finish on confidently. And then we just do that again and fade. And that's your ending. So it's a nice little fade away at the end. And that's pretty much the whole piece. So there are some tricky chords in there. The strumming's nice and easy, that's the good news. And the layout of the piece is not too complicated, just be aware in advance of where you're going and when you're jumping from one part to another. And just make sure you're comfortable with all those chord transitions. Like I say, it's a great song. I hope it brings a smile to your face. Do have fun with it. Thank you.